What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the I Formation Podcast. Here with Ben Hall and my guy LaRon McClain. Today we have two awesome special guests on. But before we introduce them, how you doing today, LaRon?
Man, I'm good. I'm good. Blessed, man. Blessed another opportunity for ready for this great interview we're about to have today with our two special guests. So you continue.
So today we would like to welcome on Jim Nagy and Michael Coe, directors of the Reese Senior Bowl. It is an honor to have you guys on. How are you guys doing today?
Good, man. Good to be on. Appreciate you having us.
LaRon, I'll let you start with some questions.
Okay. First off, man, again, man, we appreciate y'all for coming on with us and everything. And like we were saying before we got going, the connections that I have, you know what I'm saying, to start with you, Nagy, being out there in Kansas City with you, doing your thing out there. So I just wanted to ask the start of your NFL thing. What's one of the best, you know what I'm saying, traits or the best thing that you loved about scouting in the NFL?
Just the challenge of it, LaRon. You know, every day was a new day. So you're waking up as a college scout and you're attacking a new school, a new day. You know, the key thing is just staying open-minded, man. Like you might have watched tape over the summer of a player, and it's the same thing here at the Senior Bowl now. Players get better. You always got to leave your mind open that these guys are going to get better. So like going into an Alabama, you might know about, some of the high, some of the first round type guys, and, but there's always guys buried at a school like that too, right? So it's digging out the third corner. It's digging out the backup receiver who doesn't get a lot of targets. So no, it's just the daily challenge, man. And just, and just the brotherhood that develops once you're on the road with a bunch of guys over the years, man. It's a fun profession. It's a taxing profession, man. The quality of life isn't the best all the time because you're out on the road 200 nights a year. But man, it sure was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun in the NFL.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, which job would you pick out to see? I know all of them probably pretty much you put the same effort into it, but which job would you put out to say that was your best time? Sitting there before heading to the position that you're in now.
Man, that's hard. Scouting, unless you get in like that GM chair, that's a little different. You take on a lot of responsibilities, but really anything short of that GM chair, they can give you a fancier title or pay you a lot more money, but you're at the end of the day, you're watching tape and you're watching players and you're grading players. So, I wouldn't take back any of my experiences. You had a good long run in New England with the Pats and went to some Super Bowls there. Went to KC and had an elevated role there. And, we obviously didn't get it done, but it was a good learning experience for sure. And then I finished up my last 5 years in Seattle and was with another great team and saw a different way of doing it with Pete and John, as opposed to, Coach Belichick and Scott Pioli. So, it's good. A lot of takeaways from a leadership perspective that I brought to this job. But they were all different, but I wouldn't trade any of them, man. All great learning experiences.
He's done a lot of work. He's done a lot of work.
Yeah, I just about to say that just the connection that he getting down the connections that he had and the teams that he with, man. That's a blessing. Just really just to go from, especially I was there, with the Chiefs. So I understand how everything went that 1 year I was there before I left. Didn't turn out like everybody wanted to. And Mike, that's why I want to get into Michael. Just ask you about this question. 7 years in the NFL and everything, and playing in that Senior Bowl, and you coming from. So did you go from Arkansas to Alabama State?
Yeah, that's right.
Arkansas. Yeah. Can you explain that to us? Like, give us some background on that until you get drafted.
Yeah, I was actually telling Jim, man, I got a pick against Alabama. You tackled me, man, on a slant. I was just like, it was LaRon. LaRon got me. We were just talking about how we were connected, and then we acquainted ourselves at the Senior Bowl. But yeah, man, it was awesome. I got the opportunity to play with my father, who's a college football coach, and so that finished that last year with him and Alabama State. And we had another guy, Tavares Jackson, who got drafted the previous year as well. So it was awesome, man. It was a blessing for me to be around those guys, and my father and Tavares is somebody I'm really close with. I was really close with a friend there. He was actually my host when I went to Arkansas. He was one of my recruiting hosts there. So me and Tavares had gone way back. So it was a way to go full circle, man. Like I said, but at the end of it, playing for your dad, man. Now that I'm older, it's nothing like it. A lot of people ask, was it hard? And No, that's the most time I got to spend with him because, like Jim said, he was a coach, so he was always recruiting, and he coaches some, Tennessee and Pittsburgh, Kansas State, Cincinnati, a lot of the bigger Power 5 schools, and then so that being us to actually be able to share that was awesome, man. You can't duplicate that.
Oh man, I know that was awesome, especially going with your coach. So talking about the Senior Bowl, how did you feel when Alabama State, they sent you your letter, to play in the game for the Senior Bowl? I know I got the same thing that year. How did you feel that year? And then getting there, doing your thing again, drafted?
I was elated, bro. I think the Senior Bowl just always been held in such high regard and prestige. And you know that, anybody that's a football fan, especially in our era in the 90s, man, that's the best of the best. That was gold. That was always the goal, to get to the Senior Bowl, to get to Mobile all the time. That was it. Because, if you got to Mobile, you had a pretty good opportunity to get drafted, or at least your dreams could come true if you got to Mobile. So that was a big landmark, monumental stepping stone in my life to be able to play here in the community, these fans, and play against some awesome talent, man. That draft, our draft there, was a lot of guys that got drafted. So it was a beautiful experience for me. I had an amazing time here. And it's just great to be able to come full circle, now come back to the state of Alabama and to give and provide some of the things that I learned throughout my journey to these guys coming in now. And also, I know we'll talk about later, but the HBCU Combine as well is going to be here. So for me, my heart is full, man, to be able to be in a sport, in a game that I love, and to be able to give that to somebody else and learn from one of the best that's won a lot of balls, seen a lot of balls. Shoot, man, I'm just happy. I'm like a kid in a candy store every day.
Oh man, I know it's a great position. I promise you. You go ahead, man.
So Michael, I want to ask, as you kind of were just talking about it with the HBCUs, what are your thoughts on like kind of the new recruiting wave where we've seen starting to see some 5-stars commit to HBCUs, and how you think that'll change college football a little bit?
Jim,
it's changing a lot. I think the spotlight that's going on HBCUs is pretty awesome, man. I think for a while it kind of dimmed, right? I think probably a little bit in LeBron and I era growing up in the 90s, a lot what people kind of knew about it, right? You had superstars. Everybody knew that Jerry Rice came there, in our era as kids, and Walter Payton and, Poole. There was so many guys. So I think now that social media exploded, probably our sophomore, junior in college, college football took on a whole new landscape. So I think now being able to shed some light on that, I think it's pretty cool to see the energy back, into the HBCU, just seeing people get excited about ball, man. So I think that's just a new wave. I think it's cool to actually just see guys like, hey, I'm going to go pay for one of the best to ever do it. And that's kind of how I look at it. If you're a young kid and Deion Sanders is recruiting you, it's hard to one of the best to ever do it. I don't think too many people is going to debate he wasn't the best. So, the Deion Sanders walks into your living room and kind of change things for you. So, like I said, man, it's awesome, even though it's not Alabama State, it's Jackson State, but it's just cool to see the landscape and the energy and the focus behind some of the HBCUs.
So now moving on to the Senior Bowl a little bit more, I wanted to ask, how tough for you guys was it with COVID last year? Like, we saw a lot of events shut down and all of that, but the Senior Bowl still up and running. You guys still had reporters, journalists there, and it was still going. It looked like it went perfect. I'm sure you guys dealt with way more than what we did as the viewers, but explain to me kind of how tough that was for you guys last year.
Yeah, we're very grateful, man. Like, you use the word blessed, man. We feel blessed. That was it was a difficult period, but we were steadfast in our want to and our desire to make it happen, because sitting in the chair that I'm sitting in right now, like, I really feel like a steward to these 32 GMs. I respect the job they have to do. I respect the challenge they have. And I couldn't imagine going through a draft process without getting face-to-face with players. Let's face it, I know of one GM in the fall of 2020 that was going out and seeing college games on Saturday. The rest of them were all going to their team's games on Sunday. So if you went to a college game, you broke your team's bubble. So you wouldn't even be allowed back in your facility till the following Tuesday. Most GMs like to go travel with their team and be down on the field pregame and all that. I only know one guy that went to college games. So, without seeing guys physically and sitting across from them, like Zooms are great. Like this is great what we're doing right now, but man, you're trying to get to know somebody and spend tens of millions of dollars on your roster. Like you want to make that connection with these guys, and knowing they weren't going to have a combine, knowing the pro days were probably going to be affected by it. I just felt like if we didn't have our event, like they would go through the entire process and not have that connection. So, we made the strict bubble last year. We stripped everything away except practices in the game, made it all about the players and the teams. We tested everybody that was a part of it every day last year. We ended up giving over 3,600 tests. Thank God we only had one positive. And so we got through the week unscathed. And, it was I give our staff a ton of credit. We really, came up with a great plan. We executed the plan. And I think that's a big reason why you saw so many Senior Bowlers drafted last year. We set an all-time record. We had 106 players drafted out of the game. That was 41% of last year's draft class, man. That's a big number. So, and I think a lot of it goes back to the fact that we had the event and everyone connected here.
So now, really over the past few years, the Senior Bowl has always been where we see the best of the best. But over the past few years, I feel like on Twitter and stuff like that, we've seen it really build. And it's like every day, looking at draft prospects and stuff, you see the draft starts in Mobile. People are always kind of excited to see the matchups down in Mobile. Explain to me kind of how it's been kind of increasing the audience for the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, that was part of the strategy behind it from the get-go. When I was in the NFL, man, I didn't have a Twitter account ever. Like I probably should have. I probably should have been checking on these players and seeing some of the stuff they posted, but I never did. But again, like you said, the Senior Bowl has been a great game forever. Going back to the 1950s, it's been the best of the best. When these two guys played. Yep. But we were really underachieving when it came to the exposure and the eyeballs on it. So just if you look at the numbers from this past year, in 2018, our social media numbers, we were just under 15 million impressions. Man, this year we were over 350 million impressions between my account and the Senior Bowl account. So, that's millions and hundreds of millions of eyeballs that are on our game now that weren't just 3 years ago. So, yep. When we started to post 3 years ago and try to pull back the curtain of the game, that's really what it's been about, is connecting with players, helping us recruit, pulling back the curtain, letting the fans in, so there's no secrecy behind our process and how we do things and how we scout and how we identify players. It's been huge. There used to be a lot of snarky comments like, hey man, nobody goes to your little game. Like nobody cares about that little game. And I don't see that anymore. That stuff those things were happening a couple of years ago. Nobody's saying that now because we've opened it up and they see the great players. They see the Justin Herberts and, the Aaron Donalds and the Creed Humphreys and the Von Millers and, the list goes on and on. I just don't think people understood what the Senior Bowl, not everybody. I know There was a lot of real draft fans did understand. And obviously everyone in football understands, everyone in the NFL understands, but I don't think like the masses understood, just the impact the Senior Bowl plays in the pre-draft process. And social media has been a really cool vehicle to kind of open some people's eyes, if you will.
LeRon, you can go.
Okay, indeed. I wanted to ask a question. You send out your invitations to the game and everything. Is it a problem like with some of the top picks that don't want to come? Is that kind of frustrating for you, or do you feel like they need to come down there? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, so this year we only had 3 players decline our 4 seniors decline our invite, 4 out of the entire draft. And it's guys like Aiden Hutchinson, right? Like. Yeah. I think our game has value for about 98% of the players in the draft. I think you can truly help yourself down here. I would love to debate any agent or coach that doesn't think their players should come to Mobile. You just look at, to me, there was always a mindset, when I got here that, hey, first and second round picks, why would they come to that game? That it matters more for those guys, man. Yeah. Like if you're like Kadarius Toney, and you're sitting there last year, probably in the 35 to 50 range, and you get all the way up to 20, that's millions and millions of dollars that Kadarius Toney made by coming here. And there's a million examples of those, whether you're Quinn Miners from last year to Wisconsin Whitewater going from the 7th rounder, a free agent, all the way to the 3rd round of the draft. Yes. Or if you're Justin Herbert or Daniel Jones going from, the teens range as a quarterback. Let's just say Daniel Jones went 20, he went 6. Yep. He probably, There was like $12 to $14 million in signing bonus money that Daniel Jones made. So I think our game makes more sense for those high guys. I understand if you're Aiden Hutchinson and you're in the conversation for being the number 1 overall pick, and you're really kind of the unquestioned number 1 guy at your position, which Aiden probably is in the league right now. I get it. You know, like when his dad reached out to me, his dad and I went to Michigan together. He called and was like, you know, Aiden's going to pass, man. He had an unbelievable year. I didn't fight him on that. It made sense for Aiden. But for like even a couple of the guys that opted not to play this year, man, I don't get it. I think I believe in the players. I know they can come down here and help themselves. What I don't like is when agents kind of see these players as assets, right? Like players shouldn't be seen as an asset. You know, if you believe in your player, if you believe in him, you should. If you're his agent, you should believe in the player. Yep. Like let him go down, let him come to Mobile and show himself in front of these decision makers and help him improve his stock. There's a ton of juniors in every draft that don't have the opportunity to come here and use the showcase. So why wouldn't you let your senior that stayed an extra year in school come down here and take advantage? So that's the agent mindset that I really just still don't get, that you wouldn't believe in your player enough to let him come down here and try to help his position. And you'd rather kind of just sit tight and protect that asset. I don't understand that mindset at all.
Yeah, indeed. I just know me personally, I know, Mike, you can chime in on this. I know when I went down there the week, it helped me out a lot. The week that I had down there at the Senior Bowl, I know that helped me out a lot from the time I played. And Mike, you can speak on too about the week you had down there.
No, absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly, 100% with Jim. I think it's a different generation, right? Like when we was coming out, that wouldn't be no question if he was going to play the Senior Bowl. That was no question. I'm down there, right?
You guys, not to catch up. You know, Bo Jackson played in the Japan Bowl. There used to be an all-star game in Japan. He played in the Japan Bowl and then came back and played in the Senior Bowl. He played with Bo Jackson.
Come on, man. Like, yeah, that's history right there.
But like what Jim said, it's a difference. And just being on this side of it, you really understand how much this game helps you. Because like Jim said, like these juniors don't get that opportunity to talk to you. You're talking to 32 general managers in their front office, man. You're getting one-on-one attention. You're getting we laid this whole weekend out for them to succeed. I don't think some of the players might not understand. This is for you. This is to help you. This is a job interview that you said you wanted. You know, this is going to do nothing but elevate you. You come down here with a business mindset and handle your business. And like you said, Ryan helped me too. I mean, I went to came out of Alabama State. You think people didn't want to talk to me of why I transferred and what was going on there? I got to talk to these teams and at the combine and down here at the Senior Bowl and make connections here. And, you know, it helped me throughout my career. Obviously, you know, and meeting guys like you and Weddle's still putting on for those 7 draft, baby. He's still out.
Yes, indeed. I said the same thing.
We got somebody out there still representing for us, but no, man. But like Jim said, like it just helps people, man. This is a really good opportunity, and I go back to the juniors; they don't get this opportunity, and the guys that think they're, hey, man, everybody thinks they're a first rounder, and it's not like you're not. You're not. It doesn't matter what I think about you because I'm not drafting you. I'm just going to tell you what the teams are saying right now. And this could help you. This can't hurt you. Yeah. But if I tell you what, if you don't come here, it's definitely not going to help you because the guys that are there and it's like, hey, I met this guy, LaRon McClain. He's versatile. He's do this. I build a connection with him. You rather draft that guy to a guy that you haven't met, right? Yeah, so I can stand on the table for this guy. Hey, we're in the 4th round. I love this kid. He can ball. We're down there to Senior Bowl with him. And you got to make the connection. Our other scouts like them. And the guys don't see that part of it, and they don't have that in-depth understanding of what it's going to be like for them unless they actually experience it. So I'm a big component of that, man. Big component of that. Don't miss that opportunity to help yourself.
Yeah, please don't miss that opportunity. That's what the Senior Bowl is for. Just like you said, the week that y'all have laid out for the players, all the people down there getting your interviews and all that, man. I just think every player should accept it. Even if you don't play in the game, go down there and practice the week. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever you can, you know what I'm saying? Because I know I had some of the, you know, best drills, you know, in the one-on-ones. I know everybody was watching them drills, and I know that helped me out to get drafted. So I feel like that's crazy. Hutchinson should come also. That's my opinion. That's my I'm not a GM. You go ahead, Ben.
So before we get into this year's Senior Bowl, I wanted to ask you guys, who has been the biggest, because you kind of touched on it a little bit. I was thinking Quinn Miners, but who would you say is the biggest riser you've seen since you've been there, just from coming to the Senior Bowl, like I said, going against the best of the best?
I mean, I would say Quinn, because that's really the one time I've deviated from bringing guys that the league wants to see, really, like based off grades. So we have our process. You know, we've got we had 7 former NFL scouts on our staff this year. We're doing it exactly the way they do it. We're watching tape all week. You know, we're going to games every weekend. So we're building this thing the right way. But at the same time, like, we don't have all the answers. I got no ego in this thing. If we get down to the end of the process and, you know, we start talking to NFL teams, and we do have a formal call process with over half the league every year, and we go position by position. If we get to a guy and they're like, man, we're not that high on him. It happened with a couple guys in this year's game. Like, our staff liked a couple players better, and the league was like, no, we're not as high on that guy. We'd rather see this guy and that guy. So like last year, Quinn, like, I've never invited a player to the game that, like, we didn't feel strongly about, at least in like the 5th round area. Because if you get into the 6th and the 7th right now, you're going to have guys run slow at the combine. You're going to have medical stuff pop up at the combine. You're going to have character stuff pop up in the spring that teams don't know about. And that's going to force a 6th or 7th round pick to go undrafted. Yeah. So, you know, you get them in the 5th, they might take a little bit of a hit in those areas, but they still probably get taken in the 7th. So we try to stay in that 5th round and above kind of cutoff line. And Quinn was well below that, man. Yeah. So for him to get there all the way to the 3rd, I don't know if we've seen a bigger jump that way. I know, like, Terry McLaurin was a big one, going from the 5th or 6th round up to the 3rd. And, you know, now in hindsight, he was way underdrafted. Terry should have been a 1, you know. But when coming down here, everyone had Terry as a 5th or 6th round pick. They saw him as a really good special teams player. So no, those are a couple. But there's some really cool ones every year. Those are some of the really fun ones. The guys that really skyrocket.
So now, looking into this year, I know you might not want to give too much away, but are there any guys you could name that you could see taking a big jump in their draft stock?
Well, I'll let Mike talk about a little bit of his skill set, but I'd say one of them off the top of my head, Tariq Woolen, is a cornerback from UTSA. Mike cross-checked all our DBs, so I'll let him. I got my thoughts too. We're kind of on the same page with Tariq, man. But I'll say this: Tariq's a big 6'3" corner, 6'3" plus, right? I think he measured over 6'3". 205 pounds. He's going to run in the low 4.3s. This dude is an elite. And I hate throwing the word elite out there. I feel like it gets thrown out too much, but that's elite height, weight, speed for that position. And then he's one of those dudes, LeRon, like, when you get up on him, you can see what those measurables look like on tape. But when you get up on this dude, I went to UTSA to give him his invite. This dude looks different now. Yeah. I mean, he's going to, whatever team he goes to, he's going to be the best looking dude in that DB room. I promise you. I'll let Mike talk about his skill set, but I think he's a guy that leaving Mobile, a lot of people might coming into Mobile, a lot of people might not know, but when he leaves, they're going to know all about him.
Yeah, like Jim said, it's just, you just got to watch the guy, man. It's you see the quick twitch, and LeRon, you know this, but you guys get a guy 6'3", almost 6'4". He was 6'0", 3'7", barefoot. League guy, so he's a 6'4" corner, 200, almost 10 pounds. Man, you're talking about a guy that is so twitchy. I've never seen a guy probably that long and lean, like really that twitchy. You know, they're usually a little bit long in their gait. And think, man, this dude has some real explosion, so sudden. And the thing with him, he was a receiver for most of his career. He just moved to corner. So he's a little raw with certain things. But, man, you're talking about a guy dropping his weight and sticking his foot in his ground and exploding out of there. Just long. And, oh, man, he'll hit you too. He's a former receiver that he ain't afraid to throw the shoulder on you. So, like Jim said, you know, those height, weight, speed guys go. I don't know how people view him all around the league. Probably try to keep him as a secret, but it's not going to be a secret after he leaves Mobile. I mean, you can't keep him at 6'4". He's going to run in the 4.31s, and apparently broad jumps 11.5 and some change. And there's been talking to their DB coach. There's been several stopwatches on him. They just said this dude does some unbelievable things in practice. Just phenomenal athlete. So. That's one of the guys that I'm excited to see down here and see his athleticism on display.
Yeah. So now, kind of that's great. Great information too.
I'm ready to see him.
yeah, for real. But for the game, so this year the coaches, the Jets and the Lions, 2 teams who are on the rebuild, I think, are looking in the right direction. How good is it for those teams? How much of an advantage is it for those 2 teams to be actually able to coach and be down there with the players every day for this season?
Yeah, it's a big advantage. You know, the league, I'll say this, the league's really smart the way they've done it. You know, we have no control over the coaching staffs. I think there's a little bit of perception there. Like I said, I've tried to pull the curtain back on the game. I probably haven't done a good enough job explaining how that process goes. And all the league does, they start with the draft order, guys. And, you have to have a coaching staff in place. So, obviously Jacksonville took themselves out of it this year.
Right.
Houston ended up passing because I think they probably knew what they were going to do with David Culley. But we got the second, number 2 pick, Detroit, number 4 Jets. It's the league's smart, man. Like the NFL is a great league because of parity. I tell everyone, I grew up a Detroit Lions fan back in the 80s. And as bad as they were most years, I thought they were going to the Super Bowl every year, man. They draft Barry Sanders. I thought we were going to the Super Bowl. So, but no, it's one of those hidden mechanisms for parity that the league builds in. And I think you just got to look back to a couple of years ago with the San Francisco 49ers team. They came down here. I think they were picking 2 or 4. They had a really tough year. They come down, they get Debo, they get Dre Greenlaw. And the next thing the very next year, they're in Miami at the Super Bowl. So, I think that's a recent example of, man, how you can really flip it. They had injury stuff the year before, and they were probably a better roster than most teams picking in the top 5. But getting Debo and Dre and some immediate starters, Steve Wisnowski, their punter, it helped. So, it's an advantage, man. Seeing these guys behind the scenes and having meals with them and in the meeting rooms, those are huge takeaways. And I know it's a big benefit to those clubs.
Ron, you can go.
Yeah, I know with the coaching down there, it was great. I think that what got me to, the San Diego Chargers that year with Noah Turner, because he was the coach I think he was offense coordinator for the 49ers down there that year that I played. I think we had the 49ers, right?
Right.
Yeah. 49ers. Yeah, that's the thing. So, speaking of, the hashtag, the draft starts in Mobile this year, adding on the HBCU, can we just, first, can we just talk about, both of y'all can answer this question, just talk about more about the HBCU Village.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm excited about this, man. I'm really fired up. Jim has we put a lot of effort into this, and Jim helped spearhead this thing. And we had this in the plans for a while. We finally got the go ahead to do something around this and cultivate it, man. But it's been great. HBCU Village is going to have a lot of the HBCU schools and be able to come down there and rep their school. We're going to have the Divine Nine, the fraternities and sororities down. There's going to be a little step show there. We're going to have some of the mentoring groups from those local fraternities and sororities down there as well. We're going to have some of the bands from the high school here. Also going to put on a career fair. So the village is going to be decked out. Just really experiencing HBCU culture, man, having a good time. It's open and free for everyone to come participate. And while those guys are up there working out in the indoor, you'll be able to kind of get a little bit of HBCU flavor down outside the game. So it's going to be awesome, man. We got all the components you want to do. Got some entertainment. We got, get you some job, get your job groove going, and just come hang out with the fraternities and sororities, get some good food and be a part of it, man. So we're really excited to be able to give this to the community.
Yeah. Let me say this about that too. We're really excited about the HBCU Combine. When we announced it over the summer, that's how Mike and I connected. He DM'd me. That's how we made our initial connection. And then we have a scout school here in the summer. We only opened that up to former NFL players. So when he called me, I said, why don't you come to scout school so we can connect? And then he came down, we connected there. And here, now he's our director of football operations. So we're excited about the Combine. But, man, we would have been totally remiss to bring all these great HBCU players down here and not celebrate the culture. And the reason I brought up Mike reaching out was, man, once we announced this thing, I had former players reaching out. I had people from schools reaching out. We had a lot of local alumni chapters and fraternity people, want to be involved. They want to celebrate HBCU heritage and culture. So if we just had these guys down here running 40-yard dashes and vertical jumping, man, that wouldn't have been the right thing. So we really wanted to activate and do something to celebrate. And as much as I'm excited about where the HBCU Combine itself can go in future years, I'm excited about what the village can become. I think it's something that's only going to grow, and we're going to see more and more support. So I'm excited about the drum lines coming down and all that. It's going to be a really fun afternoon on January 29th out there at Hancock Whitney Stadium.
I know that's gonna be an awesome feel, awesome atmosphere. I know the culture's gonna be down there, the music, the food.
Yeah, come hang out, man. Come on, man. Y'all come hang out, bro. Be a part of it.
Man, I'm gonna try to come down. I remember my first, game going to was Alabama State A&M in Birmingham, and I was so amazed. So that's wild, man. I know that's gonna be a great great atmosphere, great thing for the players. So how many players do y'all expect down there at the HBCU Combine? How many players are y'all bringing in for that event?
Well, the NFL had picked that the players, so they're down to about 40 guys are coming down. They had selected those guys, and we're here hosting and trying to make this the best thing possible for them. All got a lot of gear for them, man. Like I said, we're pumped. We got 40 guys coming down here to put their best foot forward, man. We got all 32 teams coming down to each team's represented, sending about 2 or 3 guys down here. Some of the head and national guys are just going to come a little bit early to come put their eyes on some of these guys. So NFL Network's going to be down here. We got some of the HBCU game day and some of their media is going to be down here, man. So it's going to be a great time. We got even, Antoine Bethea, he went to Howard. He had his man-to-man podcast. They're going to be down here. So man, there's a lot of people around this game. So we're just excited that, Mobile and our community gets to be a part of it.
That's awesome. You going, Ben?
So yeah, I wanted to ask a question about the quarterbacks. What quarter I wanted to hear kind of your guys' thoughts on what quarterbacks you could see kind of making more of a jump, than you usually see, like kind of like you said earlier with Herbert and Daniel Jones. Do you see any quarterbacks this year doing that?
Yeah, I don't know which ones, but somebody's going to. I think the biggest jump on the quarterback side is probably Carson Wentz. A few years ago, Carson came down here, probably a late 1, early 2. People had some reservations about, level of comp coming out of FCS North Dakota State, and he answered those, and he went 2 overall that year to Philly. So that was probably the biggest jump. But I think as someone out of that group is going to take it, whether it's Kenny Pickett. The unique thing about this year's class in Mobile is we got 5 of the top 6 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
The only one we don't have is Matt Corral from Ole Miss. So you've got Kenny Pickett from Pitt, Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati, Malik Willis from Liberty, Sam Howell at North Carolina, and Carson Strong from Nevada. All 5 of those guys, depending on which team you talk to in the league, they have first-round grades from multiple teams in the league. So now it's like, how does that shake itself out? I think it's going to greatly determine where we end up in April. What happens here in Mobile. I think from an evaluative standpoint, this is the most important stage of the process. And I know it sounds self-serving because the chair I'm sitting in now, but man, this is real football. This isn't shorts. Yeah. And I know the teams I worked for in the league, when we made mistakes on draft day, man, we put way too much stock in what happened in shorts and t-shirts.
Yeah.
And we started to correct ourselves when we just got focused back more on ball and tape. So it's going to be a big week for all those guys. I'd be remiss, man. I hate talking about those 5 guys and not throwing Bailey Zappi in there, because he's a really good player in his own right. Anytime you break Joe Burrow's records, man, you're a good player. And I think Bailey's going to, right now we're in the process. I think he's probably a 3rd or 4th round pick for most teams. So I want to see how Bailey goes. But we all know quarterbacks get pushed up. I bring it back to our time in Kansas City, LeRon. We went 10-6 one year. We won the division. We never took a shot on a quarterback. We were there 4 years. I mean, we had the Russell Wilson came out in the 3rd round one year. Like we went 4 years and never took a shot. So I think when people say, man, why do teams reach for quarterbacks? Well, they've never lost their job because the team never took a quarterback. I've lost my job because we never took a shot, man. Like you got to take your shot. So I think somebody's going to go up there and take a quarterback high. And whether who that guy is, man, right now, I don't know. I guess it just remains to be seen.
So now I wanted to ask about the linebacker Troy Anderson from Montana State. Like, I think it's awesome what you guys are doing. Like I said, with like a guy like him, I think we all over Twitter, every day I'm on Twitter, I see guys like him, his name comes up. Like, how big of a jump do you see him taking in this Senior Bowl? And kind of, I just wanted to kind of say, I think it's awesome, the way he's being viewed now. Like every day I'm seeing highlights of him and making plays and stuff. So I wanted to see kind of what your thoughts were on him.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on Troy, man. He's not an easy study. He's got a really cool playing background. We're talking about a guy that was a starting running back in all Big Sky as a running back his freshman year. They moved him to quarterback as a sophomore, and he's Big Sky Offensive Player of the Year at quarterback. Then they moved him to linebacker, and he's the Big Sky Defensive Player of the Year at linebacker. Like, this dude's got an incredible background, but it's trying to figure out, okay, what is his best fit, though? Like, he's done all this stuff at the FCS level. What's his best fit as a pro? I know some teams think he might be Taysom Hill. He could be like an offensive weapon, gadget guy, special teams player, or leave him on defense and let him continue to grow, because he can run, man. He's 6'0", 3'7", and he can run. So, I mean, that's always going to intrigue teams. And just let him stay on the defensive side of the ball, develop those instincts, and see what he might be here in 2 or 3 years. But I really hate the word intriguing to describe players. I feel like that's a really a fence riding statement when you say a guy's intriguing. There's just a lot of cool stuff with Troy Anderson, man. Just, these teams got to figure out what he can do a lot of things, but what does he do best?
Right. So now look into the next Senior Bowl. Have you guys already started kind of, I'm sure you have, but how has that kind of been for already looking at the next Senior Bowl? And when do you guys start making the trips to kind of scout for the next year? Who's going to be playing next year?
Well, I'll speak for myself. There's nothing I hate more than the way too early mock draft stuff that's out there on the internet. So we are focused on this year's game. We got to get this year right. I could care less what's coming around the pipe next year. We got 3 more weeks and we'll get to that. So we have been focused on this. But it's a good question though. Obviously, when you're watching tape and a guy pops for you, and you got to write his name down. If you see a guy that keeps popping, okay, you do a quick Google search. What year is this dude? I'm not, So obviously, there's guys we kind of have, in the back of our heads for next year. And there's guys that already opted to come back, like Riley Moss, the corner from Iowa, was the Big Ten defensive back of the year. He was committed to come play in the game. We get a phone call early January. He decides to go back to Iowa. So we obviously know, we got a corner we like at Iowa.
Yeah.
But no, man, we've been, I appreciate the question, but we are really hyper focused on just getting this thing right this year.
So for my last question, I don't want to, like you said, you're focused on this game this year. I saw your tweet. I had to ask because I'm a Maryland football fan. I saw your tweet about the Maryland wide receiver room. Demas is coming back. You got Copeland from Florida, and then Raheem Jarrett. Do you really think that Maryland could be, the top wide receiver room in the Big Ten next year?
Yeah, and I said it would. I wasn't definitive in that statement, but it for sure be in the conversation. The funniest part about that post was that Brian Hartline.
Yeah.
Did Brian play in your Senior Bowl, or was he?
I think he's after.
It was like the
I think
Brian played like the year after these guys played in it.
Yeah.
But he's the wideouts coach at Ohio State now, and he just wrote nope.
Yeah, they got Ohio State fans are fired up about that.
I'll tell you what, I love Buckeye fans, man. They're passionate, but you talk about an easy group to rile up on social media now.
I'm telling you.
He wrote one word nope, and I think it got like 4,000 likes on Twitter.
Yeah.
But no, that Maryland, that group, I just know we love Dante Demas.
Yeah.
He was our, I think, when he got hurt, he was our 3rd rated receiver, senior wideout in this year's class. We really like Dante. And, we've been watching Copeland. He's kind of a local guy for us. He's from the Panhandle of Florida. We've been watching him since high school. And then Jarrett can fly, man. So that's regardless if they're better than Ohio State.
Yeah.
I don't know, but they're going to be darn good. I know that.
Awesome. All right, LeBron, you can go.
Oh yeah, man. One question for Mike. Boss, man, I see that you had 7 years in the NFL. How was the transition to the CFL?
I was going to ask that too earlier.
Yeah. How was the transition to the CFL that one year you played up there?
Yeah.
Jawan Simpson that was down in the Senior Bowl with me in 2007, played on defense. He spent his whole career up there in the CFL. I think he went up there and then turned back. He won a few Grey Cups and all that, whatever. The Super Bowl up there and everything. So
like Jim said, it was cold, man. It's a different. Not a lot of people have domes, bro. So you out there in the elements, but it's a different game, honestly. Not everybody in the NFL can play there, and vice versa. I mean, it's wider. You play in a lot more space. You got to have a little bit more what we would consider hybrid positions here than up there, because you have to play more space. Like the backers have to play in a lot more space. So a lot of times it's maybe bigger safeties from our game, in American football, going up there to kind of play a little linebacker type thing, because you got to move. And I play more of what it looked like nickel, like a field half. They got so much things going on and happening. It's different. It is adjustment, just because your reaction time, you're so used to things happening right now and timing it. A lot more anticipation. But if there, you just kind of I had to slow it down, because you're used to looking this, check this, that means that right away. So you kind of have to reprogram yourself and how to play the game and get used to it a little bit different. But it was a fun time, and I had a blast playing up there. We went to the Grey Cup. We ended up losing. But I had a great time, man. I played for Hamilton, a big rival, kind of like the Steelers up there. They're like the little steel town, hardworking city. So you really get to all that, the community really rallies around that team. So I had a great time, man. I had a blast. It was my last year. I don't like the cold, bro. So I had a great time.
I figured. I just got two questions left. Ask both of y'all this right here. Well, right now, the positions out there now. What's the funnest part about y'all jobs right now? If I can ask both of y'all right now.
You go first.
The funnest, man, we're in high stress part of the game right now. We're in the high stress part.
No fun.
I think really with it, kind of Jim alluded to it, and Ron, you noticed, man, it's his locker room. It's just coming in the office and seeing Jim, and we got Tanner, Jam, and Pitts on the scout assistant, some here, and Elizabeth and Lauren, and Molly and Dave and Sonia. We just all here kind of, it's the locker room. We get stuff done. Teamwork. We're hanging out and love messing with some of the other scout assistants about how we view a player, even though it's over. We kind of rag on each other a little bit, kind of mess with you. So it's just really being a part of a unit, being part of something bigger than yourself is probably still the funnest part. Even when it's stress, we can kind of break it with a little joke. So everybody's here working together, try to make this the best experience for these athletes, and when they get down here next week.
Yeah, I would say there's so much going on right now away from the roster and the football. We've got a Players Mardi Gras parade now, Laurent. Like that's a really cool thing with our guys. This is the home of Mardi Gras. We have a downtown concert that's after the parade that's going to get, they're estimating 30 to 40,000 people downtown here. We've got this big Senior Bowl Summit event with Kirk Herbstreit and Joey Molinaro and Nick Saban and all these great coaches. So it's kind of a three-ring circus. So it's all trying to pull all that together right now, including on game day and tailgating out there and everything we're building around the stadium for game day. So there's a lot of loose ends. But I'd say right now the funnest part, we had a great phone call this morning. We lost a player yesterday, an agent. Anytime an agent calls right now, man, like it's not a good phone call, man. You don't even want to, like in November, December, they're calling and they're pitching you to bring their players to the game. Yeah. And then you get to January, if an agent calls, like I don't even want to pick it up. But no, we called the replacement player this morning, and man, he was giddy. Yeah. Like he was laughing, like he's like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "You're inviting me to the Senior Bowl?" Like he couldn't. It was really a cool phone call, man. So to hear the joy in that kid's voice this morning, man, it was. And he's a really good player. Like he's way under the radar right now, but we're talking about like a 7-level athlete. This dude's a fun player to watch. So I don't know, man. This morning that was a pretty fun one right there.
Yeah, that got me fired up. Just listening to him got me fired. I was hyped. I was like, let's go.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So my last question, just with both of y'all backgrounds, especially Jim's and Michael, where you coming into now, do y'all ever see, yourselves in a GM position? Like running the team, being in the GM position. If somebody offered, like, I don't mean to put you on the spot like that, but if somebody offered y'all a position, would y'all consider would you consider getting back into the NFL with the GM position? And
that's honestly, that's been my goal. From the time I was a little kid. I mean, my dad was a high school football coach, so I grew up around it, man. I got bitten by the football bug really early. And unlike you guys, man, I saw the writing on the wall pretty early of what my path to the NFL wasn't going to be as a player. I had some opportunities to go play some small college football, but I never had a chance to get. So I've had a one-track mind, honestly. Like people ask me, how'd you get to the NFL? You didn't know anybody, you didn't play. Man, I've had a one-track mind from the time I was like 6 or 7 years old, quite honestly. Yeah. So that's always been the goal. I think this job has prepared me for that. You have a huge skill set when you have this job. I mean, it's not just scouting players and grading tape. You got your hands in a lot of different things, like what we're doing now, media, public speaking, sponsorships, managing people, budgets. I mean, there's a lot to this job. So I feel like it's really prepared me, but if it happens, it happens. I love where I'm at right now. Like Mike said, our team is great. I feel like we're growing this thing and doing good things. And if an opportunity like that presented itself, I'd love to take a shot at it. But again, I'm happy here, and I don't know what Mike's plans are, but I'm glad he's here right now.
No, man, I kind of similar story to Jim. Like, I got 2 brothers too, man. I grew up in it with my dad coaching. My mom was a basketball coach. I grew up in sports, so I knew I didn't want to coach. It's one of the things I didn't know. And just as a kid, my childhood memories, just remember back when they used to write the stencils to draw the circles and stuff like that. So I'd be in the office with my dad, he'd be watching film, and I'm in there just, right up under him, trying to do everything. He has me breaking down right first and second down. So this is like a dream, man. So just working with Jim and somebody that actually, how it is, Ron, you don't get to meet a lot of guys who just really love ball and passionate about ball. And Jim's one of those guys, man. It's contagious. A lot of high energy, just love ball, really cares about guys and people, and really engaged with the players. And LeRon, you could speak to that. You don't find that as much when you go up in the level. I think you don't find a lot of guys who really love ball, know how to communicate that energy in a positive and effective way. So, just learning from Jim, to somebody who does that and exudes that right now, man, I'm just focused on learning. I love where I'm at. I love what I'm doing. And if that, presents itself at some point in time, that would be awesome. But, I never dreamed that far. I'm kind of focused, kind of Jim said, like, I'm focused right now. I really haven't thought about like what 10, 15 years could look like. But for right now, I love ball. I love scouting. I love being able to pour out the information that I'm getting and what I've learned in my perspective, and talking to some of the other scouts and some of the scouting assistants. We have kind of exchanging lenses, right? As a player, you're going to send things out a different lens, and it's how you communicate that. Right. But you still have to scout. So we critique, but we don't evaluate a lot of times as players. So it's a little different process between scouting them and actually evaluating and bringing out what they can do. So our experience as players is unique, but you still need that evaluating experience and learning from these guys and guys that done on the road. You get all that information and it grows your toolbox. So like I said, man, I'm focused on it right now, and I'm happy with it.
Yes, sir, man. I got to be passionate about it, man. I can feel the energy coming from y'all just in this interview, man. Man, it's been a great interview, man. Yeah. Again, you know what I'm saying? For me, man, I just want to thank y'all for allowing us to interview y'all. Y'all getting, you know what I'm saying, behind the scenes of the Senior Bowl, knowing that everything is going on, man. Just a great part, me being part of it, you know what I'm saying, playing with you, Michael, in it, man. That was a wild week for myself. I remember I just wore my Letterman jacket around the lobby the whole time, just so somebody could notice my jacket.
Yeah.
And I remember the Ravens didn't even interview me down there. They just took my number and everything, but I said, they must be interested. I gotta show out at practice tomorrow. I remember we had pass pro drill with the linebackers. I try to dominate everybody.
That's what you got to do. You got to leave no doubt, man. You want to get one opportunity during that week to leave a good impression. So you got that right.
Yeah, you go, man.
Yeah, I just want to definitely say I really appreciate it. You guys coming on, and me and LeRon have talked. Next year, this is my last year of baseball. My last year in college. I'm not 21 yet, but next year, definitely be applying. We're definitely going to try to get down there to cover the game for our podcast.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to get down there. I'm gonna try to get down there on the 29th. Try to get down there on the 29th for the thing. I'm right up the road. I'm in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, so I'm right up the street, so I can get in my car and ride down 65.
No excuses, LeRon. No excuses. You're that close. No, man, seriously. Thank you guys for having us on. And LeRon, man, it's really important to me that we get connected with our past players. So, man, red carpet. Whenever you want to come down, if you got, I don't know if you have a family, if you got, wife and kids and want to, kind of show where your path started, man.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
We'll get you. We'll take care of you, man. We want all our players to come back and continue to feel a part of this.
Man, yes, sir. I appreciate it. Again, man, thank you so much for coming on, man. Y'all have a blessed day, man. And I can't wait to see this Senior Bowl, man. See all the things I got lined up for, baby. Thank you for just giving back to the community of Mobile as well, man. Y'all awesome, man. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So now, huge thanks to them for coming on to this interview. We really appreciate it, and that was great. But now, awesome. Jumping into the NFL games this weekend, I expected a little bit better. The Cowboys 49ers game was great. The Bengals Raiders games was great, but the rest of the games were really blowouts, and it was tough to watch. So to start with the Bengals Raiders, that was insane, to say the least.
Came down to the last play,
the final play of the game. And it was awesome seeing the Raiders all season, deal with everything they dealt with and still be right there in the game for their last game of the season. And they played against a tough offense with Joe Burrow, could not stop Jamar Chase. And I think that Jamar Chase is very close to becoming a Devontae Adams in the league in just 1 year. Like, I know people say that's overdoing it, but you never seen a guy do what he's doing and now take it into the playoffs. Like Justin Jefferson last year killed it as a rookie, but they didn't make the playoffs. Now Jamar Chase, a lot of guys, they say rookies, get a little worried in their first game of the playoffs. Jamar Chase ain't have no worries at all. Went out there and torched them. Like that, he was a difference in the game. Him and Joe Burrow, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man. The Bengals Raiders was crazy, man. Shout out to Reese, man, interim coach for the Raiders, man, getting them to that point. You know what I'm saying? In that game, still had them one play away from tying it up, but the Bengals was too much. That high-powered offense with Joe. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, that Joe and Chase connection. They connected on a few third downs that. You know what I'm saying? He just threw the ball up and Jamar just made a, fancy catch and just had the momentum and the drive kept going. But you know what I'm saying? They're gonna have a tough matchup coming up this next week. I hope they can protect Joe a little bit. Yep. Joe was hit a lot. You know what I'm saying? They got to him a lot, so that Raiders D line. So and they facing a tougher D line next week. But the Bengals played a good game. Their offense is high powered. You know what I'm saying? The Raiders couldn't do no. Raiders really couldn't get going. I thought the Raiders would have scored more points. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? With Carr and everything with their thing, but didn't work out like they wanted to.
So now the next game, the Bills versus the Patriots, that was the hardest, I think the hardest game to watch of the weekend. The Bills, I wouldn't say, I mean, in terms of competitive standpoint, it was hard to watch, but watching what Josh Allen and the Bills did was incredible. All year, I'll be honest with you, I've kind of said I think Josh Allen's underperformed, and he chooses the wild card game to have the best game of his career, maybe, and shut me up. Like what he did, I've never seen. He did not have to punt. He didn't not get a third down. They have one third down that they didn't convert on. And that was kneeling the ball at the end of the game. Like that is incredible.
And that's versus Bill Belichick defense. I know they went through tremendous things trying to find out what can we get to get the edge on them, and they couldn't figure it out. It's like the Bills came in there with a whole different, feel or whatever, and they couldn't figure them out, man. They couldn't stop them at all, man. The Bills, I feel like, I don't want to talk too much ahead, but with the matchup that they had next week, but with the Bills, the way that they played, man, you got to have about 15 players out there to stop that offense.
Yeah, for real.
I don't think 11 gonna be enough because Josh Allen with his
ball
legs,
right where he wants.
Man, with his legs, with his arms, he just looking at your defense. Said, "All right, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna play with you a little bit over here. That I'm going over here." Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like he just know what's going on before the play snap. Salute to them Buffalo Bills. That's my childhood team growing up. I hope they can get to. I hope they can get to that Super Bowl, man, and break that curse. You know what's been going on up there, but tough matchup come over them. But they got them. They got Bill. They got Bill 2 out of 1. Bad. They got Bill as they blew Bill, but out again. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They handed it to him. Mac Jones finally. You know what I'm saying? They had to. All that calm stuff now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Time to get ready for year 2, baby. They sent Josh Hunt you home, baby. Sorry for that.
So now going to the Sunday games, the Eagles, Bucks. This was another one that was like it ended up only being a 16-point game, but the whole game it was the Bucks had it in their hands. Like Jalen Hurts struggled, and I just don't like the quick bashing of him, and I think we've seen that change in the NFL. Peyton Manning, how long did it take him to win a playoff game?
A long time.
And he struggled, but he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. That's not a question. So why are we so quick to, come out and say Jalen Hurts is a bad quarterback? And I see these clowns, I'm gonna call them clowns, coming out and bashing him. Do I think Jalen Hurts struggled? Yes. Do I think he still could be a good quarterback in the NFL? Yes. I don't think. Why are we just going off of right away 2 years? Jalen Hurts isn't it?
Yeah,
I wouldn't even say 2 years. Because
man, it ain't been 2 years for about a year and some change. Yeah, because of how they did it. But you can see the emergence of him as a quarterback, led the league, and rushing touchdowns, rushing yards, and I think they could build off that. This all season, like I'm glad the GM and the head coach came out and said, "This is our quarterback of the future." That's how you get behind your quarterback. That's how you give him confidence going into 100%. The off season. Now I know he's probably like 1 week in the off season. He probably already. I know Jalen how the way he works. Yeah, Jalen probably already calling them guys like, "Hey, we need to get together." We need to do this. We need to do that. You know what I'm saying? To get over that hump. You know what I'm saying? They came into a big test with the Bucks and Tom now. You know, and Tom just looked like Tom. You know what I'm saying? Doing this thing out there. So man, hopefully they can rebound from this. The Eagles. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Hurts. You see, I'm representing today. Shout out Jalen Hurts. You know what I'm saying? Devontae Smith. Hey, we need to get y'all on the show, man. Let's talk about y'all first playoff. Let's talk about y'all first playoff thing, man. Especially going against the defending Super Bowl champs, man. I know it was a tough task, but man, Devontae looked good out there. Jalen looked good, man. Just couldn't get it done overall as a team, man. Shout out to the Bucks.
So now the next game, the biggest controversy, the 49ers, Cowboys, everybody with the refs, the spot on the ball at the end. My biggest thing to that is, you know, everybody who's listened to our show knows I come on here and bash the refs every week. I think they've made a bad impact on the games this season, to say the least. And I think at the end, honestly, the ref made the mistake, you know, spotting the ball, and it hurt the Cowboys. But the Cowboys put themselves in that position. The Cowboys also, I don't believe they're completing a 25-yard pass for a touchdown with 1 second left on the clock. I just don't. There's a chance, but I don't like the whole thing was the ref didn't let them spot the ball, and that's the reason they lost. They still had to complete a 25-yard pass. If they spike, it's not like they got a field goal to win the game. No, they're still down 6 points. They still gotta score a touchdown. So I don't think you can put that game on the refs. I think the 49ers came out, punched them in the mouth off the jump, punched them in the mouth, and really controlled the game. Jimmy G almost lost in that game. But the defense just showed the Cowboys what it was. And Deebo Samuel is a monster. 49ers defense is a monster. I would like to see a little bit better quarterback play. But we'll see how that goes moving forward.
Man, just shout out to DeMeco Ryans in that defense.
Yeah.
DeMeco Ryans, you know, see up for a few jobs this year, man. My former teammate at the University of Alabama. But him balling against that Cowboys team, man, he slowed that whole offense down, man. The offense didn't look like the offense that I know could put up 40 points a game, man. Dak didn't look like himself. Receivers made a few plays, but they didn't make enough. They couldn't stop Deebo. You know what I'm saying? That identity that the 49ers have is identity to win the Super Bowl and come into your place, lock the gate, punch you in the mouth. What you gonna do about it? The gate is locked. You got to be in here for 60 minutes with me. Let's see if you can rumble with me. And they got the identity, you know what I'm saying, laid back, passionate, strong, physical approach like they coach got, man. And they went in and beat the Cowboys down, man. And they got that victory, man. And at the last play, man, that's something that you go over and practice. That's something I got to salute Harbaugh on. Yeah. Situational football. You know what I'm saying? That's stuff that you go over on Fridays and say this happened or this happened. Yeah. But every quarterback, every receiver know if you're running the ball and it's under 2 minutes, you hand the ball to the ref. If he would have handed that ball to the ref would have put it right back down, snap, boom, they would have had like 1 to 2 seconds. You know what I'm saying? He gonna hand it to the center thing. The center gonna snap it. No,
you can't do that. You gotta know that.
Umpire going to touch the ball. He got to come in and touch the ball and replace it so you can go. And that hurt him, man. I wouldn't call no damn draw. You know what I'm saying? That's Mike McCarthy and telling them how they did their thing. So I don't know, man. I don't know if Mike McCarthy go end up with his job by the end of this week. I don't know.
You want to fire Flores. Get McCarthy out of there.
Yeah, because he underperformed. Because Quinn for the they defense coordinator probably for the league probably get the job somewhere else. Yeah, you know what I'm saying with what he was doing, and even I must say this, even with the defense, you would have thought they would have did a little bit more damaging things, and they couldn't. They got really whooped like physical wise. 49ers beat them up. So shout out to them Niners, man. Shanahan got them boys rolling.
So now our Sunday night football game, the Steelers Chiefs. I'm not gonna say what I want.
Too much about man.
Garbage.
Shout out to the Chiefs, man. It was a blowout. Like it should have.
Chiefs look like the Chiefs again.
Man, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. Man, Big Ben got all them scrappy yards at the end.
Right.
But they could have played better than before, man. Shout out to what's number 18 name? Their receiver, number 18 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He looked good in that game. He made a few plays at the end, but he dropped a lot of crucial third downs.
Yeah. Deontay Johnson.
Like, you know what I'm saying, crucial thing that hurt. You know what I'm saying, the Steelers a lot, but the Chiefs just too much. They rolling right now with their offense. Man, that just set up for the big matchup, the big rematch, you know what I'm saying, next week in the divisional round, man. That going to be crazy.
One of the best divisional round matchups I can remember in the past few years. That is a game. That is two teams who can win the Super Bowl. I think the winner of that goes to the Super Bowl, but I can't say that yet because if Derrick Henry comes back like week 5 or week 6, Derrick Henry, oh my God, the Titans are there.
It's so, and I know I said football, whatever they did this year, I guess they just sprinkled a little sauce on the schedule. Because, like, man, these divisional round games, man, that's coming up, that's crazy. And that goes into our last game, the Monday night game, LA Rams versus the Cards. Oh, my God. Y'all want to talk so bad about Lamar Jackson?
Yeah.
Y'all need to bring that same energy, energy to Kyler Murray, who sucked, throwing the ball underhand, just all that. Yeah. Shout out to Eric Weddle. Shout out to E-Dub. You know, we saw that out earlier, man. My guy still playing, still balling. Was out of football all them days. Yep. He almost threw him a pick, but he threw the pick to the corner, man. E-Dub just came in like he been in the locker room the whole damn year, man. And like did his thing. But the Cards look bad. They can say he ain't got his number one with target. Lamar ain't have everybody. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear that. And we still was balling. So man, shout out to Matt Stafford, man, getting his first playoff win. Yeah. You can see I saw dude put on Twitter like, y'all see what happens. He get his first playoff win when he go to his first team, you know what I'm saying, first year. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can't be blaming them with the Lions' bad organization, man. But, you know, the Lions are coming up now. You know what I'm saying, what they think. But they just couldn't get it done with Stafford. And Stafford in L.A. Shout out to Odell Beckham. Baker Mayfield tried to act like he was the problem in Cleveland. Come on, Baker, man.
We seen who was the real issue. I mean, we already knew. We on this show already knew it. But I think the Baker fans had to have seen the issue on Sunday. Odell's still doing Odell. Baker's in a cast watching the games on TV. So
man, it was terrible at the end of the year. Like y'all want to put that on Odell. Odell got almost 8 touchdowns since he been over there. You know what I'm saying? Balling with the boys and throwing passes and just using his players. You know what I'm saying? Just for their greatness. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to the Rams, man. They get into that next round. They got to go down to Tampa, baby. Yep. They got to go down to Tampa. So man, hey, let's talk about these games this weekend, man. Yeah. Big divisional matchup.
So all right. I messed up for y'all last week. We will be live this week. I put that all on me. We will be live this week though on Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
But the Bengals, I think the Bengals lose to the Titans. I think it's a high scoring game though, because I really don't see the Titans limiting Burrow, and you have to double team Chase. You just have to, I think, to be honest with you. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt you with T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. But Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase. Like he's the man right now, and I think you're gonna have to double team him to limit the offense a little bit. But I think Derrick Henry being back really helps Tennessee, and I think they win that one. But that's another game. If the Bengals upset the Titans, like are we calling the Bengals a Super Bowl team? Because I really think all 8 teams here could potentially make the Super Bowl.
Especially. This is how the game gonna be. They going outdoor stadium. Tennessee gonna be cold regardless if they was in the Bengals or not. And the Bengals, you know what I'm saying, play good. They get ahead of the Titans. You know what I'm saying. The Titans gonna have to play catch up, and that's gonna be hard. You know what I'm saying. I feel just with Tannehill, if they get their 3-headed monster back healthy, and that's with Julio, AJ, and Derrick Henry. I think they go, you know what I'm saying, make some noise towards the Bengals. The Bengals can't stop the run, I feel.
Yep.
Josh Jacobs was doing his thing, running the ball with the Raiders. So with Henry in there and the combination of their offensive line, and then the Titans defensive line getting after just making sure Joe get up comfortable. You cannot let Joe sit back there and be comfortable, because if you do that, he's going to throw it to his number one target. Then he got 2 more guys that he can throw to. Then he got a running back that he could toss it to as well. So it's going to be a tough matchup, man. The Bengals win this game, man. They better watch out for the Bengals in the upset in the AFC Championship.
Yeah, for real. But now Saturday night, the 49ers Packers. If there was one upset that wouldn't shock me this weekend, it would be right here. I think the 49ers could beat that Packers team. I really do.
Me too, man. I think they could beat it. So I think they could go in the Lambeau, like we just said earlier, lock the gate and say, "Hey, let's get physical. Let's get physical." I take the 49ers offense over the Packers defense. You know what I'm saying? Because the Packers defense has struggled. It's been because the only reason that the Packers are pretty much in the position that they're in, man, is because of Aaron Rodgers. And the offense. You know what I'm saying? and before calling them plays, they doing their thing. That's the only thing. They have no. You can see teams that should have beat them. The Ravens should have beat them.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? The Ravens should have beat them. You know what I'm saying? With a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they got their whole juice and they running down their throat. I think the 49ers good. It's gonna be a great matchup.
And then now moving to Sunday, the fact that these games are on Sunday is crazy because these are two of the best games of the season. To say the least. I don't understand.
I don't know if it's gonna be high scoring.
Defense.
Defense or back. You can't tell, man. The Bills get to go back in the Arrowhead.
Yeah.
If y'all remember the picture last year, Stephon Diggs stayed on the field and watched them celebrate in the AFC Championship. So I know they're going back with a vengeance.
Yep.
Man, this how I feel about this game. If the Bills get out ahead, they can't get comfortable because Mahomes could do this and do this and do this, and they'd be tied back up 21-21.
Well, 2 years ago, what was it? The Texans game, they were down 22-0.
Texans, yes, 23-0, 23-0, and 23-0, and the Chiefs rallied back to
like
win.
that.
So, but this not the game. This not the game, Patrick. I don't think this is the game, Patrick, that you want to get behind.
Do not
against Josh Allen, especially the way that he's rolling, coming into that stadium, revenge game. I feel for me, if I was going into it, that's just like I'm just give an example. When the Ravens went back to New England that next year. After Lee Evans dropped that pass, when the Ravens went back to New England, it was, man, that fourth quarter we beat their ass down. Beat them like a drum. It wasn't y'all knew that by 5 minutes left in the game that the Ravens was going to New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? So be ready for a matchup like that.
100%. And the Bills are not gonna. I'm telling for the Chiefs struggling defense. The Bills are not gonna let up at all. The Bills are gonna run that score up, so the Chiefs are gonna have to come right with it on offense because the Bills will run that score up as much as they can. I'm going to Bills. I know we're doing our predictions. I'm going to Bills. I think the better defense will win.
Yep. I'm going to Bills too. I understand what the Chiefs got, but I just think the Chiefs don't have enough to handle like the Bills. Oh my God, like Josh is man, no pun. 1/3 down, like man, come on, man. That means I'm seeing everything that y'all doing before y'all doing it. Like I can throw it when I want to, I can run it when I want to. So that's the power of just having a guy like Josh Allen.
So now for the other game, the 3:00 game, the Rams Bucks. I literally right now, honestly, I'm going with the Rams, but I think this is a coin toss. I don't know. Like the Bills, I'm leaning Bills, but this one, I guess I'll say I'm leaning Rams, but I really have no idea. I can't bet against Brady again. I did it last week, and that got me real good. But Brady at home, I don't know.
Brady at home again in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? And then this is the thing I say. The Rams coming in. Shout out to Cam Akers, man. 6 months out that Achilles injury.
Already back running.
Looking faster in that game last week. Like his first run, he almost broke, but. I just think that's where Brady O-line kind of shifty. Him having to get the ball out fast. I think he gonna throw a few picks. I think a lot of balls gonna get tipped by the D linemen. Von Miller, y'all gotta get Von Miller 99. You got Jalen Ramsey in the back. I think, I don't know. I don't know what's going down in this game. I'm gonna wait to watch it. But man, it's gonna be a tough one for Tom. I think it's gonna be a tough one for Tom. Especially all his targets not there. He got to rely on Gronk, rely on Evans. You know what I'm saying? Rely on another few guys, you know what I'm saying, to make plays for him. And you can see that last week. The Eagles got at them a little bit, you know what I'm saying, frustrated.
They did.
Just a tad. Yeah, they got them a little bit frustrated with that. So bringing in a better defense, a better offense, you know what I'm saying, that's going to run, play action, right? And you know what I'm saying? You got some stuff to deal with, man. So like you said, man, these games coming up in the divisional round are nuts, man. You'll never see too many games like this. Like, you just don't know. You just don't know you're not going to say, oh, this team going to blow out this team going to blow out this team. Just know there's going to be some good football on this weekend.
Yeah, 100%. But that is it for the podcast. I'm going to let LeRon say what he always says. We really appreciate y'all watching this. But I'm going to let LeRon go.
Hey, man, subscribe, like to all our channels. Y'all can see, man, this is our third interview, man. Shout out again to Jim Nagy, man, and Michael Coe for coming on with us, man, giving us the behind the scenes of the Senior Bowl. That was an amazing interview. We are tuned into it, man. It's great insights on the players, you know what I'm saying, everything. But, man, like I said, subscribe to all our pages, man. We're getting better with time. You know what I'm saying, the Affirmation Podcast. Ben, appreciate you always,
Yes,
baby.
sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, y'all tune in with us, man. Hey, we going live Saturday and Sunday with our picks.
Yep.
You know, so I think I can already feel the way
where we're going.
Leaning.
Yeah.
You know? Leaning with the team, man. But again, man, appreciate y'all always, man, for tuning in, baby. One love.